the miseducation of Seleena Day / four-time college dropout. Before I begin, I would like to say that this is neither a piece about how I feel Lauren Hill peaked at Sister Act 2 Back in the Habit, or how about my brother is North Manchester's answer to Kanye West. It's a piece about me being an almost model student trying to live in a dream world, becoming a stubborn adult. It's a piece about my life in education. It's pretty thrilling, I tell you. I have attended 3 different schools, 5 different colleges, and 0 universities. I have 9 GCSEs, 1 qualification is the same as a GCSE, and 1 that is the same as an MBQ. The first primary school I went to was Nelson Street, this huge 2-storey old Victorian building that when I attended in late 80s to mid-90s still had original tiling and fireplaces. It had a small hall downstairs with climbing frames and whatnot upstairs, with a larger hall with a stage at one end. My mum was a dinner lady here for a while. I went past the school 2 years ago and this is probably like 4 years ago now, and was saddened to hear it was burnt down as it was a beautiful building. The internet tells me it closed before it burnt to make way for a modern school, but was Manchester's oldest primary, existing for 116 years. Then we moved house, and for the last 2 years of primary I attended another school. Another huge turn-of-the-century built school. This one didn't have a stage, but had a climbing frame upstairs. The school was so populated it had 2 classes per year for the years 5 and 6, with around 25 kids per class. I was milk monitor for a while, and we petitioned in year 6 to get a sanitary towel machine put into the girls' toilets, after being primary age is told that it was too young for girls to start their periods, and we were successful. It's my first feminist, charge, age 11 there. I think the only days I ever missed off school were the days I was sick. That was the same for secondary school. I think in my 5 years there, I had 2 days off. I liked school because you got to chat with your mates. That's why I liked school. My secondary school was 20 minutes walking distance from my house. It consisted of 3 buildings, one of which, for the first 2 years, was situated in a 5-minute walk away in a local park. They knocked it down and built a fancy new one, which was good, as on way to lessons for the old building, there was always a flasher lurking behind the trees to shock the girls, in his beige Mac, ready and waiting. It was an all-girls school. It had around 8 classes per year, with 30 plus students per class. Each form was named after a famous woman, and each year had a letter. So for example, my sister went to this school 5 years previous to me. She was in the form named Angelou, after Maya Angelou. My form was Field, after Sally Field. You know, as in like, Forrest Gump thing, yeah. I don't know why. Others in my year were Franklin, Fisher, Foster, Fry, Farmer and Fawcett. On the first day we had to research the woman that our form was named after. The school didn't have the best reputation, but it had a huge sports hall and a stage, a dance studio complete with mirrors and a sprung floor, and best of all, a climbing wall like the one on Gladiators, so I was happy with it. Plus, I got to meet one of my best friends there. I was a good student, I talked way too much, but was in the top set. Only got in 2 fights, got awarded gifted and talented, was form rep for probably 4 years running, opinionated, got to sit my maths GCSE a year early, but I was also the weird, wacky, arty girl who spoke to nerds, the bullied, the popular and the misfits. I'm probably the only person I know who enjoyed school. Yeah. I got to learn English from a misanthropic sweary guy who said we weren't going to read Ted Hughes despite it being on the syllabus because he hated him. Taught dance by a teacher that let me borrow a Bush album. It was 16 stone and tape, by the way. Yeah, back when, you know, Bush were cool. And taught textiles by a teacher that didn't want to teach her, just let me get on with whatever I want. I also got to hang out and chat with my friends, make each other laugh until we wet ourselves and just have fun all day. Yay, for school. So I couldn't wait for college. I got to wear all my cool alt clothes, probably borrow loads of albums off my tutors and live out all those college fantasies. It was not like that. I lasted 3 weeks in my first college. I was getting forced to join the college gym because I was studying dance. I got told off by the media teacher for not doing my homework. I mean, I figured it's not compulsory to go to college, so you didn't have to do your homework. No, apparently not. I was in the only English class that had to read a John Grisham while every other class read The Handmaid's Tale. That is unfair. That's unfair. And an art teacher who spoke to students like shit, who didn't watch BBC Two or read The Guardian because we were all Manchester thickos. They were all the snobby grammar student kids who hated the 5 girls from my school who got into the college. But I did get voted in my 3 weeks there the best dressed first year by the second year kids. You know, an achievement. It was strict and there was a class divide. I didn't like being told what to do, and it was the opposite of my school. So after 3 weeks I dropped out. Didn't like it, it scared me and I couldn't handle it, and I think I was just a bit depressed. I thought I could get a job, but then I think what followed was me not doing much aside from getting up at midday and watching Wheel of Fortune. I think it was the Nicky Campbell era. Maybe I'm wrong, I'm not sure. Then my friend said I should join her at college, so I did. It was a local college where all the students were older than me and my friend. We studied photography. I enjoyed studio setup and loved processing film and working in the darkroom. This was pre-digital boom, because there was like this one giant camera that was like literally like the size of that PA. And you had to sign up a list to let it out, and you're like, oh, I've been waiting all week to get the digital camera out, oh, John's took it already. It's like, what? It's mad. I modelled for a lot of people as I had a silly outfits, and we never attended the Photoshop lessons as we didn't like the tutor. I do regret that now, because I can't Photoshop for shit. We mostly didn't do much though. We were on the computer, on chat rooms, mainly Kitty Radio, which was like a whole message board, whilst our tutors tried to wind us up in the chat rooms as they sat next door. On Fridays we would go and sign in and get our EMA, Education Maintenance Allowance, because EMA was a godsend then. I only kind of went to do post-education so I could get EMA. And then go to town to take pictures of things, like, oh, we're going on location shoots! When that course finished and I left, I think with something that is equivalent of a GCSE in photography, I felt bad for taking EMA and not taking full advantage of the course. So I thought, I'll do something else. I enrolled in college and decided Manchester to study fashion. Had to go for an interview to get the place. The tutor was horrible. She looked at my GCSE-based work and said it was quaint in the most patronising voice I'd ever heard. She asked who my tutor was at the other campus where I did photography. I told her and she said something rude about him. He was a great tutor, he let me do nothing, you know, for like a year and a half of my life, so. I went back on induction day, got my college ID and stuff, and whilst they took my photograph for it, I knew I did not want to travel over 2 hours in total every day to get taught by some snobby idiot, so I quit. I like quitting, if you notice. I still thought I wanted to study fashion, so I bit the bullet and enrolled at the college that was a 10-minute walk from my house. I managed a week. I was in a class with all the popular girls from school, only the problem was they had just left and not 3 years ago like when I had left. I also thought I would be getting EMA still, but it turns out I'd used it all up because I was too old for my EMA. I like free money. I did, however, in my 1 week there, manage to learn how to draft a pattern for a skirt, a shirt and a pair of trousers, so I did learn something. But then I gave up and I started full-time work. At some point I decided to pay for my education to do an evening course in jewellery design with one of my friends. The course is okay, but I think the fact that we paid for it was the main reason we stuck at it. Absolutely. It was one evening a week for an academic year. We left with what I think is the equivalent of an MVQ in jewellery design or something. I've never used it since. That was over 10 years ago. Since then I have briefly thought about returning to education but decided against it. I'm not sure at what point I went from enjoying education very much to never wanting to go into formal education again. I love learning new things and finding out about stuff, and I'm definitely one to push the importance of skill sharing, but somehow I just don't want to be qualified in anything else. I feel as I get older, it's stubbornness and me trying to prove a point. In the past couple of years, I've started doing a few bits of work for the Whitworth Art Gallery, some voluntary, some paid, mostly maintenance of collections and a couple of workshops. I sadly cannot be added to officially to this list of practitioners the gallery uses, as they like their practitioners to have had a degree and one which they have obtained at Manchester University, because obviously the gallery is in conjunction with that. And I think that's bullshit. Especially as the work I have done focuses on secondary school and post-16 education, and with the local schools. One school which they work with a lot is one that my brother attended, where I can guarantee most of the students there will not go to university, so I think it's a bit stupid. All the people I know who I have grown up in the same area as me, on average, only have one sibling, if that, who manages to attend university. My sister is the only one of my siblings who has gone to university, and I've got 4 5? I think 4. Yeah, 4 siblings in total. Yeah, that's right, isn't it? Yeah. But, I don't know, can't keep up. Oh yeah, and I think people would have thought that I would too, but I saw how my family could not afford to send her and never felt the need to escape the city I live in, so I just didn't bother. I get told easily that I could do an MA course if I really wanted to, or go back and study something. It will look good on your CV and all that jazz. But I think now I'm proving a point that I don't need a degree to be able to make art, to get on in life, to be taken seriously. I'm partly proving people wrong, but mostly doing it for the kids who, for whatever reason, are highly unlikely to go to university. I want to show them that there is other ways of achieving what you want, and at the end of the day, I've got a degree in streets maths, and that was free, so thank you. I hope that made sense. Yeah, it wasn't very. I've got big hands then.
only got little baby
Do you want me
hands.
to turn the page here?
I need to do it twice. Send me that.
Hello. I'm going to read from the neighbourhood issue. Is this loud enough? Can everyone hear what I'm saying? Cool. I don't be like, hello. I have so much pride when it comes to my family, my heritage and where I'm from. My family is very working class, traced back generations. I was born in Doncaster and still have strong ties there. In that I literally just moved back. At this point, I will live in there, I think. I was born in Doncaster and still have strong ties there. My parents still live in the same house I grew up in now. My mum's side of the family is from and traced back to Doncaster. Just on it, a whole long list of folk who never wanted to leave, who brought up their families, who then brought up their families in that same area, passing on the traditions, dialect, spirit and that easily recognisable Donny face. See famous examples of the Donny face on Louis from One Direction and actress Sheridan Smith. You'll know what I mean when you look now. On my dad's side, I have a mix of Irish and French heritage. Irish being the most prevalent and the thing most people pick up on when they look at me. My dad's side of the family is full of fierce Irish women who've never been afraid to get their hands dirty, kick their husbands and sons up the arse and get shit done. We all have that distinctive Irish look, the strong cheekbones, dark hair and pale face, the big eyes and that fearless and determined personality. My dad was a pub kid, always moving around Merseyside region, eventually settled in St Helens. Most of these towns often appear in polls like Britain's roughest towns, most deprived areas of Britain, etc. And people who have never been to either place often write them off completely, using words they've heard others use like shithole and such gems. The way I look, my accent, and generally the way I am, reveal me to be working class pretty much early on when meeting me, and I feel my class is a massive part of who I am. It's changed my personality and plays a massive part in my story so far, and I imagine will do throughout my life. The thing with being working class is, often your surroundings are not ideal. You don't have the money to go and live in areas you might want to live in. The local council of these towns don't have loads of budget to make everything chrome and glass and fancy. They have a lot more human-based things to worry about. Where you're from is where you're from. Your family, your friends, your people. There's been times in my life where I've been less than in love with Donny. I remember feeling pretty psyched about leaving for Sheffield just before my 18th birthday, but at the same time, if anyone ever tries to say anything bad about it, unless they're from another colourful borough of South Yorkshire that is, then it's just regional banter. I won't be having it. There's a weird jar in British perceptions of the working class, on TV and film. They're often Britain's best loved characters, but in everyday real life, things are totally different. Estates, even villages and whole towns, are seen as no-go areas. People are written off as lazy, unintelligent, a stain on our society, and are judged even before they open their mouths. On their names, their address on their CV, their accent, and then of course how they look. Both how they put themselves together and also the major things they can't change, such as skin colour and genetics. After years of trying to figure out why there was such a difference in the approach to TV characters than in real life, it got me starting to think about fear. For the people watching TV, they're safely sat behind the telly, in their houses with the double locks, laughing at the daft simpleton things the characters say, their jovial realness, their bolshy sometimes inappropriateness. It's not threatening, it's funny, or fierce and entertaining. It's not the same as getting on a bus and deciding not to sit next to that girl there because of how she looks, or crossing the road when you see a teenager approaching. There is a fear of us which leads to judgment, stereotyping and ignorance. Our fears, however, are often of ourselves and within our daily lives. Fear plays a big part in estate life, even when we're not particularly thinking about it. We don't live in fear every day, but we adapt certain things into our lives, and they become just what you do. When I was a kid, you didn't go out when it got dark, you just didn't. You also never left anything that belonged to you outside overnight. While you were out, or even if you were there, you didn't let it out of your sight. There was an inherent understanding that everyone is an opportunist, and that's just how it is. You gotta get what you can get. You can't blame anyone but yourself if you left your bike outside the front of the house while you were inside and it got nicked. You should have put it round the back or kept your eye on it. Another major part of estate life is fronting, and most working class people I know recall this well and still exhibit these basic safety techniques now in their adult lives, even when they live outside the estate. You know that at any time a threat could come your way. A person could flip at the shops when you and your friends are there. You might walk into a path where a drug deal is happening. You could find yourself in many a violent situation, and how you react at that moment is key. You develop a way to walk, a way to speak, armour that protects you and lets people know you're legit, you can be trusted. The fear runs deep in the estate, from fear of being caught by police, the social, debtors, family or friends, right through to burglary, violence, or being in the wrong place at the wrong time. There is this shared feeling of we're all here together, living this life, and this is the way we have to be to survive. This is quite a negative sounding idea, but actually it's about survival. It's the framework that allows people to go outside, to go to the shops and to function. You have that all-important reaction ready at any time, in any situation that won't find you vulnerable. Even when you're young, you learn these ways of survival, whether it's violence in your home or witnessed on the street, getting your bike nicked or getting your head kicked in because you mouth back at someone you shouldn't have. You learn the ways of the road early and you won't make the same mistakes again. You also learn the other side of the rules. Your people will have your back. People won't mess with you if you don't mess with them. Drug deals are real people too, trying to make money to feed their kids sometimes, their own habits, or to make enough money to get out of it. People are multidimensional. Sharing, generosity and empathy is key. This lifestyle and these behaviours, when leaving the estate, can be seen as threatening, as fearless, and we quickly discover the same rules don't apply outside the estate. This way of surviving inside that we learn as working class people is something people on the other side don't always understand, and instead this can scare them, intimidate them, and this is what helps to build stereotypes, judgments and distancing. We become the undesirables simply by being who we are, where we're from, and how we learn to adapt to our surroundings. It's also this inbuilt fear we have of being made to look a fool or dominated or made to feel vulnerable that can hold us back from reaching our goals, getting into work, working well with others, anything involving trust, and also when situations escalate, we can lash out and cross lines others don't, landing us in trouble at various levels. There is also a prime reason for joining gangs and associating with what others deem problematic people. In young people, this fear makes us fearless. We don't know enough about the big world outside, the bigger picture, how important it is for us to do our homework. How fucking up once can write you off for life. The need to protect and stand up for ourselves and our people is strong, and can often outweigh conforming to situations that our people are not involved in, such as snobby teachers at school, posh owners of businesses we have to clean for, etc. I'm not saying every working class person is the same. We all know how different occurrences shape us, how having one parent or two, or no parents, or hundreds, affect or don't affect us, how we survive abuse, divorce, poor parenting, discipline, or a traditional, narrow-minded but on paper 2.4 children household makes us who we are. The sense of otherness when we enter the world outside the estate, be it at any age, has a profound effect. You got free dinners because your mum couldn't afford to pay them. Oh, what school trousers are those?
Etc.
I, for one, was pretty angry as a young person. I was a bad influence to my friends' parents, and sat at their table for dinner making sure I said please and thank you and used my knife instead of using my fork in my right hand. Both things my friends had told me their parents thought was rude of me. I also know they'd said to my friends, why is she always here and why do you never go to her house? I knew my mum would never have anyone round for tea, and that made me feel like shit, but my anger was not directed at her. I didn't get pocket money, I got free school uniform and dinners, and the anger I had inside me came from a place of not wanting to be forced into a corner, to be judged, to have to live differently to others. If I wanted the same as others, I knew I had to go about things differently for sure, but if I wanted it enough, I could have it. As a young teen, I did this mostly by shoplifting. I had no social conscience. I knew it was wrong, but I remember absolutely buzzing off it. Feeling invincible, powerful, getting away with it felt pretty incredible. I shoplifted partly for the buzz, and the rest was just so I could sell what I had robbed on the field at school to make money to buy things I really wanted, that I couldn't have any other way. I've grown up with this feeling of fear, primarily of being made to feel vulnerable. Through my surroundings in my working class town and in my own home, this way of thinking has made me feel motivated, aggressively determined, and definitely in a no-holds-barred kind of way. I'm constantly striving to achieve the things that are not handed to me on a plate. I also know that at any point I could be in a situation that could change all of this. In my earlier life, I was lucky to not be prosecuted or get into any serious criminal or legal situations, thanks to people choosing to turn a blind eye, family ties, and undoubtedly my white privilege. I consider myself lucky every day that I'm living the life I'm living, but still live in a state of fear that this could all be taken away from me at any point. All I have to do is react wrongly. I also have this intense feeling whenever I'm stressed that it's because I shouldn't be doing this in the first place. What was I even thinking? I don't belong here. Why did I think I could do this? It's about power, feeling strong and in control of your life when you're judged or written off, or see negative stereotypes or bullshit in the media. My working class roots and experiences run deep. and shape every part of my being. I have a fierce pride of my working class community and passion for creating positive role models, speaking up and letting others know that we are not powerless. We are in charge of our own destiny and we deserve it. We just need to fight for it. God knows we have it in us.